Hello everyone, good morning, good afternoon. Thank you very much for joining. My name is Liam. I'm one of the MBA recruitment managers here at Saïd Business School. I'm delighted today to be joined by a panel of three of our existing students, and I'll ask them to introduce themselves in just a moment. But we have Matias, we have Isadora, and we have Sergio. So to get things started, guys, if you don't mind, and Matias, I'll start with you. Can you tell us a little bit about where you're from, your sector that you've come from, and how many years of work experience you had before joining the MBA, please?
Okay, well, I'm from Chile, and I'm an engineer. I've been working for the last 12 years, mainly in the retail area. Supply chain is my main field. I'm working for the Falabella Group that has offices in different countries in South America and now open just in Mexico. I'm working only specifically in the supply chain development, warehouses, trucks, and stuff like that. Very interesting job, yeah.
Okay, thank you. And Isadora?
Hi everyone, I'm Isadora. I'm from Brazil. I'm from a town called Ribeirão Pires, but most recently was living in São Paulo for the past 6 years. I have a degree in international relations and also a master's in marketing and branding, and I was working with digital marketing at Google for the past 5 years.
Thank you. Sergio?
Thanks, Liam. Hi, everybody. I'm Sergio from Costa Rica. I'm in the healthcare industry. I've been in the role of manager for the past since 2009, and it's specifically medical devices in Central America, Costa Rica, and Central America.
Thank you very much. So for the people that are listening, we'll have some time for a Q&A towards the end of the session, but if you have any questions that you'd like to send through, there is a questions box that you can type those questions into, so please feel free to do that as and when they crop up in your head. We'll address them in the moment if they're relevant to what the discussion is concerning at that time, but if not, we'll address them towards the end. So please don't feel as though you have to wait to send your questions through. We'll gather them all and answer them as and when we can. Guys, I'd like to move on a little bit about your choice behind choosing Oxford as the destination for your MBA. I don't really mind who starts, but can somebody please share maybe 2 or 3 of the main deciding factors that you had in terms of making Oxford the place you ultimately came to study?
I can start. I think I was looking for a program that wasn't just isolated in business wise. So I wanted a business school that was more integrated with maybe a wider university and a place where I had the chance to engage with different subjects outside of business. And I think Oxford was a perfect place for that because it's embedded with the wider university. And the focus the program has on social impact and social entrepreneurship was also a big decision factor for me because it's something that I wanted to learn more. And I'm really glad that I am learning more about it in the classes, so I made the right choice. And lastly, I think being at the University of Oxford is a once in a lifetime experience, and it was a dream of mine, and so I'm very happy to be here.
Yes, adding to that, I was looking for a program that was really challenging. A part of that is a 1-year program that is really intense, but I'm pretty happy, and I like with Isadora that I have more or less the same ideals or expectations of the program to be here, close to so many countries, and to share with this network of awesome people that to apply to the program, and to have this kind of balance between just not business, but combining with social development, entrepreneurship, network with people, integration with stuff like the SDGs from the UN, so many interesting stuff, and this network with colleges that are really, really interesting that we're going to talk about later. But that's mainly my main ideas of why I chose Oxford.
Yeah, and in my case, building up on Isadora's and Matias' point, I really was attracted with the social focus that the program has, getting a little bit outside the business bubble, if you will, and learning about a whole different, there are over 60 nationalities, I think, in the program. So that really builds upon getting to know a lot of different perspectives. And that's just only within the program. I had the suspicion, but now I'm glad to confirm that. It's how awesome that experience has been. And on top of that, the wider university experience is very, very satisfying. It's very dynamic. So that was and moreover, the 1-year program the dynamic, it really attracted me. So I think those three things were really the key points that attracted me to the program.
Thank you. We've had a couple of questions come through that fit well with the next thing I was going to talk to you about, which is what you found most surprising so far. So Sergio, maybe we can start with you for this one. Since you've been here and you arrived probably sometime August, September, when the course started, what have you found in a positive way, in a challenging way? What has been most surprising for you that maybe you weren't expecting it also?
I think that definitely the most surprising thing is, although I was sort of expecting it, the most surprising thing is the infinite number of possibilities and events that happen every day, and the whole universe that not only Saïd is, but the wider university. So in just I remember that in the first 2 weeks we had 2 or 3 presidents from Africa just in Saïd, not in the Oxford Union. We had business leaders at the union. I went to the Prime Minister of Australia talk the second week. We're having so it's so dynamic that it's surprising and challenging at the same time, but it's very gratifying to be here and try to live and make the most of it as much as I can.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I second that, and I think the most surprising thing is how accessible people are and how you can actually just approach anyone and talk about anything, and then you realize later that they are this very senior person in their specific field of research, and that's very interesting. And I was also surprised at how intense everything is. So I was expecting, of course, that we'd have a huge workload because it's a 1-year program. But it's intense. It's a lot. It's very rewarding, but there's a lot going on. At any given time, there are 6 different events in my calendar, and I want to go to all of them. So,
yes, I think that more or less it's an intense rhythm in a positive way. Like
yes.
You wake up in the morning every day, and there are so many interesting things to see. From sports. We're going to talk about that later, but. Just from sports, from lectures, from visitors, like everybody comes to Oxford, like just they want to share the stuff, like their ideas, and after their speaks, so that like you can go to a bar nearby and maybe share a beer with them, and it's awesome, like to exchange ideas, to talk about them with people from your cohort and people that is sharing the same interests and different interests at the same time. So yeah. That was kind of really surprising.
Thank you. It's great that everyone is talking about the wider college network. We'll talk more about that in a moment. We've had a question about the intensity of the course itself. Would somebody be able to walk us through this first semester? And for the audience that are listening, if you're not aware, the first semester is kind of where you'll do the core modules, the fundamentals of business. There are 8 of those. Some will kind of bleed into January, February, but generally speaking, it's all in this one semester. So can someone let us know kind of what the day-to-day hours are? When do your exams happen? Is that coursework? Just a bit of a brief background around that, please.
Yeah, so we usually have lectures on every day except Wednesday. Wednesday is Careers Day, so there are a lot of events organized by the Career Center at the school, but we don't have formal lectures. But on this first term, we've been having lectures from 9 to 12:15-ish, and usually we have a break in the middle, and then classes, and then we have lunchtime, and then classes again from 1:30 to 4:45. Around that time. And then sometimes we have support classes in the afternoon, and those are optional. And after 4:45, there's usually a bunch of events going on, social or academic, different talks you can go to. And sometimes this happens during the lunchtime as well. In terms of the workload, as we mentioned, it's pretty intense because it's a 1-year program, but it's not unmanageable. And one thing that I find really interesting is that you can, of course, dedicate yourself and be like very rigorous about your academic progress, but you can do well if you don't spend your entire day in the library, and you're not expected to spend the entire day in the library studying. And that's what I find most interesting about Oxford.
Yeah, building on that, like we have people that are journalists, are lawyers, are doctors, are people like from art backgrounds, that different backgrounds that are never in their life seen some of the numbers that we're seeing in different classes. And one of the things that you can see is like, yes, it's an intense program, but the way that the lectures are being explained are really like helpful to understand. And you have to put some attention, obviously, it has to know, but it's not impossible. It's not an unbearable workload. You can organize your time at the beginning. Maybe the first 2 weeks is a kind of change of rhythm, but then it's quite straightforward. So no, you're not going to have any problem with that, especially if you don't have any background in business before.
And adding on that, for example, today we're having accounting right now, and it's a new topic for me, but we also have students there that have a background maybe in finance or accounting. They're always willing to help. So today we have a student organized support class for accounting, and we'll just have someone from our cohort just walking us through accounting and going through basic topics. So there's always help. It's very manageable.
Yes, I was gonna touch on that point. The cohort is very they collaborate a lot. People that have the background and the skills in accounting or finance are very engaged and like to help people. So we actually have one of the support classes in accounting was given by JJ, one of our classmates from my section. And so you have that awesome dynamic, which is that people really feed from each other and help each other out based on their different backgrounds and levels. So it's pretty amazing.
Thank you. And just following on from that, can you talk to a little bit around the differences maybe in the teaching styles that you see among the different members of faculty? Is it all relatively the same way? Do people have different styles, different ways of teaching, and how have you experienced that so far?
That's Sergio.
No, I would say that I found, for instance, a course like analytics, it's obviously very theoretical. So Professor Taylor was very engaged, and we actually gave him a present at the end of the because it was so he made something something like analytics very dynamic and engaging. And obviously that would be different from a strategy course because it's more dynamic. It's more you have to engage and participate more. So I think that every professor builds in the specific teaching dynamic according to the subject they're teaching, which is it obviously fits very well. You want to be very engaged in strategy. You want to know the case. You want to read. Know what's the topic and build on so the whole you can take the most out of the whole experience of the section as much as you can.
Yeah, and for some reading on that, for some courses like analytics and business finance, we were given a binder with all the course material. So you have things to write on and you have the slides printed out for you, and then the professor would go through those in class, and then you can complete it with your notes, which is really helpful because those are two very quite heavy subject, so it's always useful to have a binder in the material. And for some other courses like strategy, as Sergio was mentioning, we have different readings and we do case studies. So some professors do that. We have guest speakers for some classes. So we had the CEO of HelloFresh come speak to us during organizational behavior class. So it really varies according to the professor. Some will be more traditional lecture and writing down, taking notes, but very engaging. I don't think we have any classes just like not engaging or you don't want to pay attention. So we have traditional, we have case studies, we have guest speakers. Yeah, it really varies.
And they try in a certain way to be like, try to apply the stuff. So it's not to be like in a cloud of theoretical stuff. Like in each one in analytics, in strategy, in business finance, they try to give like real life examples that make things much more realistic to try to understand. So I think that's a good effort that I have seen in all the teachers in that case.
Great, thank you. We've had a question come through about the colleges, so let's move on to colleges. I think for the audience members that haven't been to Oxford before or are still kind of researching the university, this college system might be quite alien to them. So if you wouldn't mind maybe taking it in turn to just talk a little about which college you belong to, how many of your fellow MBA students are in that college with you, and any college activities that you've been able to get involved with, whether it be a sport or a society or a club or anything at all that helps people understand what life is like outside of the business school, but within the wider university network. Please.
We leave it to Matias.
Yeah, we have a rowing champion here.
Well, we're one from Somerville, Isadora, and two from St. Catherine College. Yes, at the beginning it can be kind of confusing how it works, the stuff of the college, but you can imagine that it's like kind of of a way of making a group of students that are organized together from different schools, not only Said. And it's like kind of a special internal union where you can share ideas, you can have dinner with them, we can exchange experiences. It's a good support. It's like an outer world of Said in this case, and helps you quite a lot in this like leading this program. You know that there are like 38 colleges in 38, if I'm correct. Yeah,
I think so too.
Yeah. 38 colleges in Said. Everybody has like kind of alliance with the students, and it's the perfect place. Like you can have dinner with people, exchange ideas, make clubs, and practice sports. From my point of view, especially like I had the opportunity in my life that I have never do rowing in my life. I start from scratch with the people from my college. They're really nice coaches, and we trained quite a lot, and we managed to win the first regatta with my college in like 2 weeks ago, and it was an amazing experience of team building, having a really good experience. So yes, the college life is a perfect complement to what you're studying, and a perfect place to exchange ideas and do different activities in that case.
Yeah. So I can speak from my point of view. The whole college thing was I had no idea what that was about. So it was very alien to me, the whole experience. I didn't know much about it, and I didn't even understand if I should apply or not. In the end, I was just allocated to Somerville, which is a great college, and I'm really happy about it. And as Matias said, it's a great, unfortunately, we don't have much time to interact with college people as much as I like to. But because the MBA is so intense, but it's also, they have so much going on. So there are usually a lot of social events, sometimes academic events at college. College dinners are an amazing experience. So if you've ever seen any Harry Potter movie, you can pretty much imagine the Great Hall and people sitting down and having dinner together. And that's exactly it. And you can sit down next to very interesting people who are just doing things that are completely different. I had the experience, I spent like an entire dinner talking about neuroscience with a PhD student, which was very, very interesting. He was talking about Parkinson, just completely away from business, and I learned a lot from that. And I also started rowing. I had never rowed before, so it was a new experience too. Unfortunately, my college didn't win the regatta, but we made it to the finals, which was really cool. Yeah. And yes, I think the college experience, as Matias said really well, is a great complement to life at Saïd.
Yeah, so I mean, building on Matias and Isadora's point, as Isadora just said, we unfortunately not have enough time to get involved in the whole college universe in Oxford. It's and I was thinking about the same Harry Potter analogy. It's a whole universe, 38 different universes, which are infinite. I had last Saturday drinks with monks at Blackfriars College, and I had a talk with Professor McGrath on C.S. Lewis at Harris Manchester the week before. So it's an endless possibility of interesting things going on in each of the colleges, regardless if they're small, if they're super old, if they are the new colleges. Every college is amazing. They have very different dynamics. And it depends on how much time you want to allocate to the quote-unquote Harry Potter lifestyle you want to do here. But it's, as Isadora says, the dinners, meeting different people outside the business bubble. The college really provides an interesting segue to do that. So it depends on you how much you want to. And it's very alien, as Liam said, and that's correct. That's you'll understand it when you get here.
Yeah. And actually some scenes of Harry Potter were actually shot in Oxford. So it's a whole cool experience to see the scenery here.
Read the books before you.
Yeah, or at least watch the movies.
Okay, thank you. We've had a question come through around bringing families to the school. So if it's relevant for your situation, can you talk about being here with a partner? If it's not, do you have experience of classmates that have brought partners or even young children with them, and how they've been able to integrate as a unit into the network, into the cohort, please?
Yeah, well, I think this is my question. Thank you, Liam. Yeah. Well, I'm here with my wife. She At the beginning, because the program is very intense, you have to learn to adjust. But actually, she just now got a job at Christchurch at the art gallery. It's the Oxford itself has so many things going on that the partner can engage in very significant activities, and it's part of the discovery process. So I think that if you sort of just take it slow and analyze the situation and start seeing all different and infinite possibilities that you have here, there's so much that a partner can engage in by themselves, and then the wider partner community. It's very strong right now. It's over, I think it's over 60 people in the Telegram chat. So they have activities each week. They get together. Yesterday we had our section Christmas Santa party, and all the partners were there. So it's a question of time, and the engagement among partners is very, very dynamic. Regarding people that have families, I don't have kids. It's the same. So Lydia, who's Ian's wife, she has built up. We had on Sunday an activity with other couples' children. So it's a very intense, very dynamic partner, a very dynamic partner situation that they really have a lot of fun and engage with.
Yeah, so I can personally speak because I don't have a family or a partner here, but from what I've seen in the cohort, I think that building on what Sergio said, there is a really supportive network for partners and families. So we keep talking about sections, so just so everyone knows, we have our big cohort of 300 people, and those are divided into 4 sections with like 80 people in each for the classes. So we had our section Christmas party on Sunday, and we had kids there. So some people brought their partners, their kids. Was very welcoming. And I got to know a lot of partners too. So they are very well integrated into the MBA community. And it is an intense program, but they're usually very able to integrate in social activities, in Oxford life. So there is a supportive network for that.
Yeah, just to build on up from that point of view, yes, your expectations, yes, at the beginning would be tough. I think I saw some of the families, especially when you're looking for a place for your children in schools and like kindergarten and stuff like that. At the beginning was kind of tough. It's a big change in your life. Like you're gonna have to endure as a couple. In my case, I can single, but I'm talking about I saw from other people from my section. Yes, it was tough at the beginning, but it's a process that I think that strengthened the relation. Give a nice adventure to live together. And yes, it's a lot of stress at the beginning, but then you start getting used to it. So don't worry. Yes, you will be nervous at the beginning, very anxious, but don't worry that everything at the beginning, then 2, 3, 4 weeks later, you're gonna be quite okay.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Thank you. So moving on to probably the final section that I have prepared before we answer some of the questions that have come through. And it's a little bit about what advice you might give to prospective students. And if I can ask you to break this down into 2 different areas, please. So what is your one piece of advice for people that are still researching which school might be right for them? And then a second piece of advice that have chosen Oxford in a way that can strengthen their application specifically for this school. If that makes sense.
Okay.
I mean, in my advice for those 2 fronts, either if you're researching the school or if you have decided already to do the Oxford and you want to strengthen the application, my advice would be the same for both fronts. That is, if you have the possibilities, I understand this is a very, it depends on your resources, but if you have the possibility, visit the school. I did that, and if you're on the first front still researching, I'm pretty sure that you're gonna be convinced that you want to be here. And if you want to strengthen your application, obviously getting to know all the people here, the people who are engaged in the application process, letting them know your story and where you come from, that really strengthens your application. Now, given that, if obviously that is not a possibility, I would just say try to reach out to to people that are here. People are very forthcoming, very accessible. They enjoy very much helping out other people. I remember when I was applying that I reached out to people that were doing the MBA program, and they told me, listen, I was very surprised. Please don't worry. People did that for me as well in the past. So now I really understand that. And please don't be afraid or shy to reach out, and we'll be glad to help and guide throughout your application process.
Yeah, I think my advice, I personally would have spared a few more days to prepare before I came here because I had to work. This is, of course, further down in the process, right before I came here. I had to work to the end of August, and I flew here in the mid of September. And I wish I had like a bigger break to prepare because moving across the world is a big change. So I wish I had more days off. And for the application, I think the advice would be don't worry too much about the GMAT. So the GMAT is not the only thing that the applications team is considering here. And the essays and showing who you truly are in your application story and making sure you're telling a cohesive story throughout the entire application, I think counts more or just as much as the GMAT at least. And if you're still researching, I agree with Sergio that visiting the school is a good, if you have the chance, it's something really, really good to do. But if you can't, and I understand, of course, that not everyone can fly here and visit the school, but at least reach out to people who are here. So people who are doing the program, who did the program before, and really, really take the time to research and understand if the program is right for you. I'm sure it will. I'm sure you'll find out it is, but just so you know.
In my case, just look like in the case you are not, you don't have the possibility to visit each one of the universities, look at the programs in the website if you are not decided in which university you wanna apply. Again, as same as Isadora, yes, you have to pay some attention on the GMAT, but probably it's not the main thing. Leave you enough time to apply. I did it in the third window. I did it in March.
Yes.
In a rush. I was working at the same time, so it was kind of tough for me to do it. But anyway, you can do it, and it's not impossible to give it time to write your essays, to share with people, or to talk with people from the different programs. You have the possibility. I'm sure that they will answer about that. And after, if you go to the interview stage, in my point of view, I would suggest that you go personally to have the interview, not going only by Skype, because I think it makes a lot of difference to give a better interview. If not, Skype is okay too.
Yeah, just so no one's terrified, I did Skype and I did fine. So.
Yeah. And yes, as the same Isadora, like before coming here, just leave some time to prepare. It's a big change. Just to leave everything in your city, in your country, in your family, and to come here is something like you will need a bit of time. It's not something that is impossible to do, but just to make it like easier and nicer, I would suggest that like leave some time to say goodbye to everybody, and it's not impossible to do it, and just to have time to get settled here in the city.
Okay, thank you. So that's the end of what we wanted to talk about. We're going to take some questions now, but before we do that, for the audience listening, we're just going to mute the microphone just for a couple of minutes to give you a chance to send your questions through. One or two are coming through as we speak, so please do send those through. We'll be back with you in no more than 2 or 3 minutes to get those answered. So thank you very much for your company. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with you. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for sticking with us. We've got a few questions lined up that we're going to answer either myself or part of the panel here. We're going to start off with just a quick question around budgeting for living expenses, just as a general idea. If one of the panel would be happy to take that question, please.
Yeah, I think the number that's on the website, on the Saïd website, is pretty realistic. Of course, it depends on your personal lifestyle. So if you're shopping every day or if you're going out to restaurants every day, I mean, that'll change a lot. But usually that number is pretty realistic. And we have lots of places in Oxford have student discounts, and the college bars and college restaurants are very cheap. So yeah, I think and even the food at the school is very subsidized. So I think that's a pretty good number.
Yes, and actually, like the number that is in the website actually covers like a normal. It's not a small place to live. It's a normal place to live. And if you want to have like your own apartment or whatever, yes, it's more expensive, but it depends on your lifestyle. Again, the food is the same. So you go every single day partying, that you can actually, but if not, you go normally in a normal rhythm, like 2 times a week out, like to have dinner or have some drinks. The budget will be completely normal. You're not going to be.
On that point, the MBA is a very social program if you want it to be. So yes, you can go out 7 days a week, but you can go out in a very cheap way. So don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, college life is the college provides an infrastructure for you to use, and within that you have very affordable food.
Mm-hmm.
Saïd as well provides very affordable food and
breakfast,
breakfast, dinner, so
lunch, everything.
You're covered. I mean, there's no.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it depends on how much you wanna. If you wanna go to London, or that's a different thing, obviously. Yeah. But I found it very affordable when you use the right resources.
Yeah, and in summary, just consider the number on the website.
And we'll send out the link to the website with the recording of this webinar for the audience that are listening. So in the next day or two, you'll have an email from us with the recording attached and with a few links that you can get some more information around this and some of the other questions that you've raised today. Slightly linked to that question, we've had a question regarding financial aid alternatives for funding the MBA at Saïd. And Isadora, I know you had a point you wanted to make.
Yeah, so I found the financial aid office here at Saïd very approachable. So I was very fortunate to be awarded a scholarship by the Saïd Business Foundation. And that comes with a Forte Foundation Fellowship as well. But I actually emailed the financial aid office and asked about options, and they were very approachable. So there are a number of scholarships. As Matias, I also applied on the 3rd round, so in March. And unfortunately, a lot of the scholarship opportunities were closed by then, but I still managed to get one. So there are a lot of financial aid options available. If you can apply by January, I think that's when most of the university scholarships close. But if you can't, that's also fine. Just make sure you talk to the financial aid office and understand your options.
On that topic, for the audience, we're having a scholarship webinar that I'm hosting next week. So if you'd like more information, and you're not bored of hearing my voice, then please do come along and we'll tell you all about the different options that are open up until January and also beyond in the final stage of the year in April if you're considering applying for that. Moving on to the final couple of questions, we're about really connecting with you. So one of the questions is, can the audience connect with you on LinkedIn? And I think everyone is happy for that to happen.
Yeah, sure.
On the slide that you can see in the webinar, the holding slide, you'll have everyone's full name. Please do go ahead and search for them, and they'll be happy to answer your questions or connect with you on LinkedIn. Jorge, your question around specific alumni in Chile, I can help with that. So let me reply to your question privately with an email address if you want to get in touch, and then we can put you in touch with some alumni in that country for you to talk to. I think the final question probably is around careers. A couple of people have asked if you wouldn't mind sharing what you're hoping to do once you've graduated. And then also a secondary question is, has that changed since you've been here? Have you changed your mind about what it is you're looking to do post-MBA?
Yeah, I was just joking that I change my mind 3 times a day ever since I got here. I think that the MBA so far, so we're 3 months in, so I had a pretty solid idea of what I wanted to do, which is marketing strategy and maybe going back to tech. But I also wanted to do something more towards social impact, and that's why I came here for. But I didn't really know how to apply that, so how to actually manage to tie marketing strategy and social impact. And once I got here, I noticed that I learned that it's actually possible So the career center is actually pretty helpful and was pretty helpful in that and make me understand what I can do with my skills. So that's a tip too. You can schedule one-on-one sessions with the career center and they'll actually talk to you about it. And so I think that's basically where I am right now. I have a general idea and I have, there are some deadlines approaching. So for big companies, we have recruiters on campus. So today we have Amazon and Delberg, and I'm going to those companies' presentations, but mostly I have a very general idea of what I want to do, nothing very specific.
In my case, I have the offer from my former company to return to the company back. They are sponsoring part of the program too, so I own them part of this. So yes, in my case, I will return. I don't know, the company has offices in different countries in Latin America, so probably I will return to, I don't know which one of the countries. But one of the interesting things is that here, like you hear so many interesting stories about like work experiences from other people. Like it's not strange that you will be like, even that in my case, I'm open to hear new stuff, like maybe things can change and you have to be open for that.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, if you're not clear on that, like the career and development department here, that they have a special day, they have the complete Wednesday organizing activities with companies that are coming here to Oxford to Saïd, to get talks and offers and interviews. So yeah, it's a place that a lot of recruiters are coming. So yes, you're going to have a nice opportunity. You're not clear on what you're doing in the future. Probably you're going to have a clear idea at the end.
Yeah, well, in my case, I am most likely going back home. As the same case as Matias, I have an offer from my employer back in Costa Rica. I think that when you get here and you see so many possibilities you have, and when you start learning, you think you want to go into marketing, and then you learn about consulting or finance or within the industry, which is a very broad sector. You find people who know about healthcare or retail, high-end consumer goods. So I think that you start learning that you don't know much, and you can, your skills can be developed in so many different ways that it's a year to take your time to think about that and see all different options that you have. So that preconceived notion, that change in mindset, it's part of why we're here. Mm-hmm. So in my case, I'm going back home, but I think that for the people that are my friends here and all the people in different cohort, I can see that they're learning so much from different skills, and the possibilities are basically endless. So yeah, it's up to everybody's experience and journey. Mm-hmm.
And that being said, there's also, I know, like I'm still exploring, but if you're very sad and going into consulting and finance, for example, there are structured programs for that. So there's the finance lab, and I know they do a lot of networking and financial skills. There's a consulting development program, so it prepares you for case interviews and to actually network with recruiters. So even if you're very sad on what you want to do, and you find it,
yeah.
Or entrepreneurship, yeah. There's a very heavy focus on entrepreneurship, yes, which is very, very interesting. So there's a lot going on that front as well.
Okay, thank you very much. That's the end of the session. Thank you to the audience for taking part. I've just added some email addresses to the chat box. So if you want to get in touch, there's a general inquiries email address, and then there's my personal email address as well. So thank you for coming. Thank you for attending. Thank you to the panel for all of their insights and their knowledge and for taking time out of their busy schedules. Please do get in touch if you have any questions, and I look forward to speaking to you further along your application in the next few weeks. Thank you again, and goodbye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.